Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Izzati Yasmin binti SAFRI, and I'm going to present about my study entitled Association of Eating Window with Dyslipidemia Among Healthy Adults. First, introduction. We will go through background. Eating window is one of the components of chrononutrition that has been associated with poor health. Eating window, for example, 8-hour window, can lessen bad consequences of unhealthy diet in both mice and humans. Proper timing of feeding or fasting in relation to the body energy needs can enhance our metabolic health, while improper timing of feeding can be related to impaired bodily and mentally health. Rationale of doing this study is to provide information related to association of eating window and dyslipidemia, generate important information with respect to evaluate a further developing programs, and lastly, could act as a reference and guidance for other researchers for further investigation, thus supporting the development of health policy. My objective is to determine the association between eating window with dyslipidemia among healthy adults. My second point of presentation is literature review. First of all, what is eating window? Eating window is a duration between first reported eating event and last reported eating event. It is a food intake within a particular time body. For example, 8 or 10-hour window during the 24-hour per day. Dyslipidemia is a situation characterized by means of unusual lipid repute in the blood. For example, triglyceride, cholesterol, and phospholipid. Dyslipidemia also contributes to greater than half of world ischemic heart disease and 18% of international cerebrovascular disorder. Association of eating window with dyslipidemia, it was discovered that Ramadan fasting substantially increased HDL, LDL, and total cholesterol level, whereas it decreased serum LDL, HDL, and TG-HDL ratios. Triglycerides were unaffected, according to Akabari et al. 2014, while according to Begum et al. 2015, it has been demonstrated that low-fat and low-caloric diet consumption in Ramadan fasting will reduce serum TC and LDL-C cholesterol level. The third point of presentation is methods. Since we are doing a systematic review, we are using a guidelines from PRISMA, Preferred Reporting Items for Systematic Reviews and Meta-Analysis. Eligibility criteria were divided into inclusion criteria and exclusion criteria. Inclusion criteria are studies with eating window as exposure and dyslipidemia as outcome, 10 years of publication starting from 2010 to 2020. Study participants are adults, age above 18 years old, article with full text availability in English, and observational studies. While the exclusion criteria are duplicate article, abstract-only papers like preceding papers, conference, editorial and author response thesis and books, systematic review article itself, and study combining eating window with other disease. My search strategy that I'm using while searching my article as shown, data collection process. One review author was extracted from the following data from including studies, while the second author will check the extracted data, which is my supervisor, Dr. MARHAZLINA. Disagreement were resolved by discussion between the two review authors. If no agreement was reached, it was planned that the third author would decide. The fourth point is result analysis. This is my study selection. It was done through two electronic databases, that is PubMed and Scopus, and also from additional resources by using forward and backward searching. Any eligibility assessment were performed independently by two reviewers, and disagreement between reviewers were resolved by consensus. As you can see from the PRISMA flowchart diagram, I found 1,526 articles from PubMed and 1,795 articles from Scopus, and 13 articles from backward and forward searching. After the duplicates removed, left with 3,230 articles. And all 3,230 articles were screened and first excluded by screening title and abstract of 3,029 articles, left with 201 articles to access for full text eligibility. And also I'm excluding 185 articles due to articles of pregnant women, athlete, overweight, obese and chronic disease with 73 articles reported on other exposure and outcome, 46 articles studies on animals, 23 articles on RCT study design, 17 articles where age of participant exceed than my range, 40, and articles that show association of eating window with other disease which is not reported separately, 12. And left over with 16 articles that I'm including in this systematic review. This is my evidence table. In summary of characteristic country, I found 5 studies from India, 3 studies from Iran, 2 studies from Bangladesh and Pakistan, while 1 study from Turkey, Iraq, United Arab Emirates and Jordan. For characteristic study design and parameters, cohort has 15 studies, while cross-sectional has only 1 study. Reported all 4 parameters of total cholesterol, HDL, LDL, and triglycerides are 14 studies, while reported only 3 parameters, either total cholesterol, HDL, LDL, or triglyceride are 2 studies. Characteristic of sample size. My range of sample size are between 10 to 160 numbers of healthy participants aged between 18 to 86 years old, and they are fasting for 8 to 18 hours per day. Characteristic of sex. 7 studies reported both sex involved in their studies, while 7 studies only male. 1 study reported only female sex, and 1 study not reported on any sex. In summary of association of eating window with dyslipidemia, a p-value of less than 0.05 was considered as statistically significant, which means there is an association between eating window with dyslipidemia. In this systematic review, 4 studies showed a statistically significant association between eating window with dyslipidemia, whereas 1 study by Campbell and Hiermeth 2018 revealed that there was no association between eating window with dyslipidemia. The remaining of 11 more studies showed that only 1, 2, or 3 parameters of the p-value were statistically significant association between eating window with dyslipidemia. Studies with statistically significant association of eating window with only 1 component of dyslipidemia are Khan et al. 2017 and Farajeh et al. 2012 are HDL parameter, while Unalacha et al. 2011 are triglycerides parameter. Studies with statistically significant association of eating window with 2 components of dyslipidemia are Seshti et al. 2020, Muhammad Zaid et al. 2017, and Kamal et al. 2012 are HDL and triglycerides parameter, while Nashwak et al. 2019 are LDL and triglyceride parameters, and Shehab et al. 2012 are HDL and LDL parameters. Lastly, studies with statistically significant association of eating window with 3 components of dyslipidemia are Uruch et al. 2020, HDL, LDL, and triglycerides only for male, whereas Akabari et al. 2014 and Akhtaruzaman et al. 2014 are total cholesterol, HDL and LDL. I am using a study quality from National Institute of Health, NIH, which is suitable for cohort and cross-sectional studies. Based on the assessment that I have done, I gained 6 article goods, which represent 37.5%, and 6 article fair, also 37.5%, while 4 articles are poor, which is 25% of my overall article of 16. This is the study quality assessment that I have done using NIH. Lastly, reference. This is the reference that I am using while doing these studies. That's all from me. Thank you.